Peace, peace, y'all. We made it. This fruition. The mind is all. The mind is all. A mastermind masters, his own mind. The mastermind is mastering the thought. Shout out all the fathers, the men's in the world. The past Father's Day. The thought. If you really are aware of things, we all started as a thought. We all started as a thought. Shout out to the men. Shout out to the men. Stay in the now. Master the now. We dealing with consciousness, right? So you stay in the now. We'll come back to that later. We started as a thought. The beginning. It was a thought. The thought being more powerful than the word. If you take before conception, right? I wouldn't even care what they call it today, trauma bonds and all that. It doesn't even matter, right? Each of us started merely as a thought of the mind of the all, the Almighty, right? We started as a thought. How does this thing go? I mean, in this very colloquial sense, right? Before intimacy, right? It's a thought that erects the man, right? It's a thought. It's a thought that erects the man. Before even coming into contact, physical contact, it's a thought that arouses a man, the erection, then, nature takes place and the mating begins, right? Between the male and female, right? But the thought, it was merely the thought that began that process, right? I'm talking about in the beginning. When I say we made it, this is fruition. Do you know how the seed gets here? What it has to go. I'm talking about a semen, a sperm, right? What the journey is like to get here scientifically. It's 1 in a million. 1 in a million. And that's the fight, or that's the competition, right? 1 in a million. So, one, you won already. You know what I'm saying? So like what we had to endure just to get here, get to the egg, right? That egg chooses the strongest or the best possible outcome, the best possible sperm out of a million. That created that child from that seed or that sperm entering that egg before it grew into, a new life, right? Chosen one. That's where the chosen one come from. You was chosen for this. You are the image. You are made in the image of the mind made manifest. Welcome past the class. These all chosen ones. For real. What's up, bro? Right? All chosen ones. Right? That's where hit that like and subscribe for the algorithm. Each one of those kids that I just walked by started off as a sperm. We all started off like that. From a mere thought before the ejaculation, right? You started off as a thought. Then that thought within that male became an erection. And then, physical attractions and everything like that, right? But everything starts as a thought. You master the thought. You can't master anything if you can't master your thought. That's the all. The mind is all. Your mind is all. People throwing in the towels, lacking understanding. And I'm saying it's layers and levels to this, right? But when you really just sit still in awareness, not like you're not moving or making progress, but sit still, you know, you got to move with purpose. You have to move in purpose. How many years, we spent moving without purpose, knowing nothing about purpose, right? Or someone else's purpose, right? You can't do nobody else. You know, it's too much. We see a lot with these devices, right? Shout out brother Soul said it the best, man. If it's not even attached to what my end goal is, you literally, I'm focused on strategy only. Everything is strategy, man. It's that way. Outside of it, I touched on that a couple videos ago, and I don't even want to talk about certain things because it don't align with what I got going on and how I'm gonna get there and where, what my path is right now. Stay in the now. The beginning starts with self. If you don't, you don't have to understand everything. Everything doesn't apply. Everything doesn't apply. Not to you and your mission and what you got going on and your purpose and things. Right? What's in the end zone. If it doesn't align with that, hey, I don't know about that. I'm doing this. What you doing, Drew? I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. Right? So in that same regard, it's like the thing in the news and that over there that's going on, this right here, listen, if you don't know nothing else, listen, sit still and you work on self. Stay in the now, the beginning. I'm working on self. Outside of that, listen, I really can't, I really can't fade it. I can't help you out with that right now. I'm busy. Man, you don't like you can't just, nah, I'm doing this. Cause I already know it's not, listen, you gotta move with purpose, man. When I come outside, I already got two, three things I wanna do. That way, if I don't, hey, I might as well stay in and be grateful I got somewhere to stay in. Hello? Hello? Right? We made it, man. This is fruition. Starts with the thought, man. We got to master the thought, man. Heal. That's what this thing is about. And everything that goes into that. That's really that's the only thing we got time for. You tell your time where to go. You tell your time where to go. You tell your time what to do. Tell your time what to do. Stay in the now. What's now? It's spelled backwards. Shout out Aaron. It's one, man. We won already, man. We won already, man. You was chosen, man, for this, man. That's what that chosen one is. Yo, 1 in a million. And that egg chose you. Right? That sperm, you started off as sperm first. That egg chose you, and y'all bonded and built. So now we at a point where as though, conscious, we're already manifested from made in the image of. We started out as a thought. Master your thoughts. Master your thoughts. Create a vision. You're everybody don't have a vision, man. Everybody don't got a vision. You're lucky to have one. And that's what sets you apart. That's what sets you apart. If you can see something coming into fruition, right? You envision it. And then, that's a purpose. Plainly put, that's a purpose. You work that out. You solve that. You know, that's what each of us is doing. That's what this is about. That's what this is about, man. This ain't no commercial, man. This is gas. That commercial, you know, everyday talk. You know, that you know, just chatting about that. You know, you don't come here for that. Not the fruition, man. You know, that's not what we're here to do. That's not what we're here to do. You can get that anywhere, you know. That negative thing. You know, if it's informative and on your power structure or where you got to go, then, you know, subscribe, you know, that way. But, you know, if it's about everything positive, man, you know, it starts here, you know, that in the mind. You know, the revolution will not be televised. That started in the mind. That starts in the mind. You know, before it's brought into fruition, before it's manifested, before everybody can see it. You know, before you put it out there, and you know, for it to become a form of matter, you know, in the physical, right? It starts in a different plane, and it's here already. It starts as a thought, as everything does, as we do, right? The mind is all, man. The mind is all, man. Check this out. If peace, let's say peace, right? Let's say peace and happiness, right? Let's say you can buy that. Let's say you can buy it. If you accumulated enough money, that you could buy peace of mind or happiness, right? So the person with the most money will be able to buy a peace of mind and happiness. So if you take the richest person in the world, what people think in this colloquial sense as success and abundance, let's say with money, power, if it bought power, if it bought peace and happiness, they would try to buy it all. They would attempt to buy it all, right? And kind of hoard it, right? Because you can't, if it's enough peace in the world, enough resources in the world for everybody, it's enough food in the world. Like, what do you need all the money in the world for? Just to buy, food? Like, your stomach can only eat so much food, right? If the money buys the biggest of the houses and the most bedrooms of the houses, right? You can only sleep in one of them at a time, right? Sleep in one bedroom in one house at a time. If it buys all the cars, right? You can only drive one of them at a time. If you just think about this, just think about the mind, right? It starts with the thought. What's behind that? What's the psychology behind that? Okay, you got all the money so you can buy all the clothes, right? But how many times you can switch clothes a day? Where are you going at? How much you want people to look at your clothes? How much sneakers, can I wear, right? These is these are the things that consume a lot of people, right? Consume us. So these, that kind of makes it like, okay, where the uniqueness and the individualism isn't even a thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example, right? I like the sneakers and things once upon a time. A lot of people that was didn't have money for things, like the things that they couldn't afford, right? So let's say I'm gonna use the Jordan sneak, for example, right? Hit the like and subscribe for the algorithm. You take the Jordan, what's the thought behind this? You take a Jordan that was set to release tomorrow, right? And on that release date, Jordan is going to sell out. They're going to cost $300, right? Whatever they cost now, right? They're going to cost $300. So they know we got a certain amount of thousand pairs of shoes that's going to sell out tomorrow, right? Certain amount of thousands, right, of shoes. So let's say the number is 10,000 pair. I don't know. Let's use that, right? 10,000 pair of the same sneak going to drop tomorrow, and they're going to sell out. They already sold at $300 a piece, right? Some people going to get them and sell them to other people. So you got 10,000 people going out one day in the same time when they drop in the morning, right? To wear the same shoe, to look like each other, right? Some people might dress it up different, right? I got you. But where's the individualism? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a point in time where that wasn't, I can't, it's like that with a lot of things now. You can't do everybody else. You can't do everybody. Nobody's trying to master. Keep it, the majority of people, I want to use my words, right? I'm not saying nobody trying to master. I believe that now people are becoming more awake, and there's people that's becoming more tapped in, more tuned, more aware, while you got a majority of people that's going farther and farther away. That's the opposite of the polarities. People going, getting closer to this thing, and then people going farther from it. You know what I mean? Even further than before, right? It's like that. It's no individual. It's not an abundance of the individual mastering of self. People are attempting to master other people. You know what I mean? And following, and these phones got a lot to do with it, these devices, right? But if you really just look at all the distractions, I can't even subscribe to them all. I don't even know which one of them is real and what's not. A lot of these things seem to be ploys to me. You got things going on in the news that I don't subscribe here on my channel. I subscribe to Stay in the Now, right? We made it. And when you don't have nothing else to do, let's say for layman's term, you get bored, work on self. You got nothing to do, listen, work on self. Stay in the now. It's the beginning. That's where you begin. Right there. To end all that bull, the beginning. Start work on self today, right now. If you ain't got nothing else to do, look, work on self. You bored, work on self. What's that thing everybody talking about? That movie, work on self. Wake up with a purpose, have an intention, you know what I mean? Not just, roaming around with nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just being there. Like I said, the intention has to be there. Start off early, You've been talking about doing that, getting your health on, you're trying to be here, right? Okay, you got to do your part with, you made it. Yeah, you was chosen. Yeah. You said, you spoke on something. You was going to do something, man. Set that alarm and get to it. Go on that walk in the morning before anybody wake up. Start your burpees and your meditation and your yoga or whatnot early in the morning. Before you get on the phone and check the emails, and before you check the social media. You don't get no social media until you work out, because you said that's what you was going to do. That was your intention. Set your yoga mat up the night before. Set your walking shoes out, on the put your walking shoes out, next to the door, so you won't leave out the house without seeing your walking shoes. Then you go out there and do that. That's how you do it. Set the intention. Every time I come outside, I got 2-3 things I want to do. Not just coming outside just to be a skylark. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that ain't the way, man. 2, 3 things I want to do. That's purpose, man. And if you, like I said, if you ain't got nothing to do, and you might as well just stay in and gather your thoughts. You don't have your mind in order. You gotta have your mind in order. You know what I'm saying? Master mind. Mind is all. We started off as a thought first. That way. The beginning. You know? The mind is all, man. You know, we all might see, we all, 1,000 people can walk by, you know, a scene, right? And there'll be 1,000 different views on what had took place. The mind is all. Very few and in between is going to analyze it to where as though they're going to apply that to a line, if that has anything to do with where they're going at and what they got going on. And does that really affect them in one degree or another? We may appear to have been looking at the same thing. You know, I might assess that, you know, differently than the 10 other people that saw it with me. You know, I might look at that and saying, you know, ain't nobody bleeding. You know, everybody seems to be, you know, talking it out. I got 5 rounds of burpees to do when I get off this bus. You know what I'm saying? Like that way. Like, you know, I'm not, you know, that I might as well not even assault that then. In that regard, you know, I'm going this way with mine. You know, and that might as well be something I see, you know, along the feed. You know, I might see certain things along the feed. And again, I don't have my mind mastered. I'm not a mastermind. Not yet. But that's what the real game is. You know, master your thought, to master self, to heal self. A lot of people need healing, man. And it's hard to heal trying to, you know, understand everything about everything else, you know, that don't have nothing to do with you and your purpose. Let's call it like that, and your purpose. If it don't have nothing to do with that, you know, you really can't align with that. I really can't understand. I don't want to understand it. I don't even want to understand it. I don't want to know what that's about over there like that. You know, I need to stay locked in over here and what I'm doing. We started off as a thought. That's how powerful the thought. We are man-made manifest in an image, made in the image of, right? We made it, man. But look, man, I'm happy y'all could be here, man. It's truly wonderful, man. Have a great everything. Peace.